What's up, dogs? It's Gangsta Chewbacca coming from the LBC to shoot you some TLC. I'm gonna keep it real and hope you keep it real by keeping your crazy kids away from this channel. Remember, not all toys are for kids. Just ask your mama. Now here's the big D, that Junkman, to tell you about the stretchiest stretch superhero toy line ever to represent the East Side. I'll rap with you later, players.
Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming back at you with a whole new video. So, we're going to talk about today. Well, we're going to go back to the late 70s, tell you about a Mego toy line that I think a lot of people have forgotten about.
It's Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk from the Elastic Superhero Collection.
I can beat that.
You can tie them in a tangle, then see how they unwrangle. You can stretch the legs and arms. It won't do any harm.
Watch this.
Elastic Spider-Man and Hulk.
Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk, each sold separately from the Elastic Superhero Collection.
Now, before we look at those and tell you how they upset Kenner, let's remember that you can support this channel by going to patreon.com. There you can get exclusive content, and you know that. Talk about it every time I hear. Or go to thatjunkman.com, where we got shirts on sale all this week for as low as $13. And not only do we have shirts, of course, we have mugs, buttons, stickers, other things there also. So go to thatjunkman.com, and from there you can go to the merchandise store. But now, let's go all the way back to 1979.
Yada 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 voodoo papa, a yodely hoo, da boo da boo doo doo, yaka 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 no.
By 1979, Mego toys were feeling the hurt from the toy line that they turned down, Star Wars. And not only was Kenner dominating the boy toy aisles with the Star Wars toys, they were having a huge success with another toy line called Stretch Armstrong. Mego saw the success of this Stretch Armstrong line and thought, hey, we've got the rights to superheroes line from DC and Marvels and more. Wouldn't it be great to put this Stretch Armstrong technology into our own toy line? And that's exactly what they did.
The Elastic Superhero Collection, each sold separately. Elastic Plastic Man.
You can tie them in a bind and watch as they unwind.
Elastic Superman.
You can pull them, you can bend them, even have a tug of war.
Elastic Batman.
No matter how you stretch them, they keep coming back for more.
Elastic Plastic Man, Elastic Batman, and Elastic Superman, each sold separately by Mego.
Now, they did other elastic stretch figures besides just the superheroes from DC or Marvel. They did some like Mickey Mouse, Bugs Bunny, and more. These right here. But for this video, I'm just going to focus and talk about the superhero line, because that's probably what most of you are interested in. The line was made up of 5 corn-filled 13-inch figures, and those figures were Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, the Incredible Hulk, and a year after the release, Plastic Man was added to the line. It took them a year to add Plastic Man? I mean, really, I think that would be the first thing they would think of. It seems just perfect for this stretch line. Anyway, when those figures were first released in 1979, they were kind of a hit. They sold very well, and Mego was happy. They had a hit line on their hand. But soon, the happiness of this toy line turned into a major headache for Mego. They used to explode, and the corn syrup would go all over the place. They sold good at the stores, but they all ruptured. Mego's warehouse manager, Ray Dominant, said. But the exploding, leaking stretch figures wasn't the only thing Mego had to worry about, as their warehouse was starting to get infested by rats.
Oh, rats.
The rats probably loved having access to free corn syrup, and as figure sales started to drop, and they had more and more problems at their warehouse from figures exploding, leaking, and rats, another problem hit this line in 1981 when Kenner filed a lawsuit against Mego, alleging that Mego knowingly misappropriated trade secrets in the making of their stretch figure line. That lawsuit from Kenner didn't get filed until 1981, but in July 1980, Mego had already canceled the line due to declining sales and to get away from all the problems they were having with this fragile line. As the 1980s rolled on and into the 1990s, there was a boom in toy collectors. A lot of kids that grew up in the 70s and 80s were now reaching adulthood and trying to capture some of that youth by going back to buy some toys they had as children or ones they always wanted and never had. And the Mego line was a popular line to collect, from Star Trek Mego, Superhero Megos, Planet of the Apes Megos, and more. However, this elastic line of figures was overlooked by toy collectors in the 90s. A lot of collectors were scared to buy anything from this line because, again, it was so fragile. Unlike the Stretch Armstrong that you could stretch and stretch and stretch with no problems at all, these Mego figures would bust and rip with a few stretches. Not only that, just being in the box, these things would explode, leak, or rip. And not just playing with them, just sitting in the box. These stretch figures would often bust open and leak. So even if you kept these in the box, it had to be stored just right to keep them in good condition. And then, even if a collector was able to buy one of these, it was hard for them just to display them with everything else. Again, you had to keep the temperature just right, even in the box, so they wouldn't bust open or the corn syrup wouldn't leak out. Things started to change for this line in the early 2000s when eBay took off. There, it was easier for collectors to pick through people reselling these Mego elastic figures. And in 2006, the first mint in-box Batman elastic Mego figure sold for $15,000. And once this figure made headlines, more started to pick up on eBay. Just a few months later, a box mint condition Hulk sold for $7,400. With these figures being so hard to keep in good condition, it's no surprise that these that were kept in good condition were going for big bucks. I mean, think about it. You had to buy these toys back in 1979 or 1980 and keep them in good storage. It wasn't like the Star Wars figures or other Mego figures that people would find in their grandparents' attic in the 90s and the 2000s to resell. These had to be taken care of from the moment you got them at the store. And loose ones that's been played with, chances are they were busted really quickly. But I don't really hear much talk about this line, so I figured you guys would like to learn more about them if you didn't know. So let me know in the comments below, did you have any of these stretch toys? Did you remember them? Did they bust in your hands when you and your friends stretched it? Let me know. I do think I had a Hulk one, but I'm not really sure. It's a fuzzy memory. I remember having some kind of Hulk that was bendy or stretchy. Not really sure. But maybe I did, maybe I didn't. It's hard to tell. It's been so long ago. Anyway, I want to thank you for watching. Be back very soon with a whole new video. And until then, we will talk again.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.